Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So, thought I'd give you guys a lumber update video. I'm going to try and get a little closer to the camera here because everybody complains about not being able to hear my voice and that I am too quiet. So, I'm going to get close to the camera for this one. Everybody's talking about lumber. Everybody's wanting to know why the prices are moving up so high. Everybody's talking about the high lumber prices, adding another $19,000 to the cost of building a new home. I tell you, if you've been following my channel for any length of time, you know that I talk a lot about lumber. Now, I have backed off on talking about as much lumber as I have in the past, simply because I have already said just about everything that I could possibly say about what lumber is doing right now. I would love to give you like some really awesome information that you could trade off of or make your timing for your purchase. It's going to be very difficult to try and time this market. We are going to go into lesser prices at some point. I just don't see anything above, say, 1,000 per thousand is going to draw in a lot of customers. Like the demand, once you get over 1,000 per thousand, it really dissipates. Now, the only thing that can keep these prices moving is the inventory levels. If you can keep inventory tight, you're going to keep the prices elevated, just much like the housing market. If you can keep housing off the market, if you can keep the inventory levels down, the prices will remain elevated. There is elastic and inelastic demand when it comes to lumber. If you are planning on building a woodshed or a chicken coop or repairing the deck, because it's starting to rot, those are projects that can postpone. If you started a house and you are in framing, you have no other choice. You have to move forward with that project. And if the demand is up for new starts, then you're going to see the demand for lumber start to increase. If the inventory levels are low, the prices are going to go up. Now, I'm going to leave a link down in the description for you guys to an article talking about Canfor up in the British Columbia area. They are pulling back production. 150 million board feet they plan on pulling off of production over the course of the next year. That is huge. That is a huge amount. And to kind of give you an idea, a single 2x4/8 standard and better has about 5.33 board feet in it. That puts us to like, 28 million studs. Like 28 million studs that they're going to not produce coming out of this particular area. And the reason why they're cutting back on production is because of the amount of timber that's up there to harvest. It's dropping significantly. And this is the main thing that we have talked about for years. We started off talking about the British Columbia area. The Pine Mountain beetle went in there and destroyed the forest up there. The government decided to go into what they call salvage mode, where they drop the stumpage fees. This is the amount that the loggers are charged to cut, and essentially turns into an input cost going into the mills. When that harvest mode was over, because essentially when the bugs came through the forest up there, through the British Columbia forest, killed off a bunch of the trees, they harvest those trees that the bugs have infested. It's still usable lumber. They mill that up, sent that into the supply chain, and now there's not enough timber up there to keep these mills supplied. So Canfor can't be the only one. They cannot be the only one who is dealing with this issue. There's a lot of mills up there. Canfor just happened to be the one that has announced this pullback in production, 150 million board feet. So you can imagine that there's probably other mills up in that area who are also suffering from this slowdown or this depletion of timber that's available to them. Now, British Columbia was a major supplier of lumber. Now, I can't tell you what the numbers are exactly right now because I'm sure they've changed quite a bit. But typically, the United States imports about 20% of the softwoods that they consume here from Canada. So a significant portion of that comes from this British Columbia area. So when these guys started having issues a couple of years ago, it really started messing with the rest of the supply chain. Now, these big mills, they know that British Columbia area, it's not coming back. It's not coming back into the production levels that they had experienced for like another 30 to 40 years. Essentially, they have to do a replanting and grow these trees. It's like a tree farm, but it takes a long time to grow them. So that particular area won't come back into the production levels that it had seen, like I said, for many, many decades down the road. But these guys, they're no dummies, and they know that this is a situation that is not sustainable, and they are moving, and they are setting up shop down in the southern part of the United States. Now, how long it takes for those mills to come up into full production and, you know, have a lot of material coming out and distributing through the rest of the country, I couldn't tell you how long that's going to take. It's probably going to take some time, but it's in the process of occurring right now. Now, the big question, what's going to happen with lumber prices? It's anybody's guess. The window of opportunity from the last video that I put out was very brief. To be honest with you, we didn't even really experience it here in my lumber yard. I'd imagine that there's probably some yards out there that went through a lot of material that was able to give their customers a bit of a price break from the new material that they were able to bring into the yard when those prices had dropped below the 1,000 per thousand into like the 900 level. But it was such an insignificant drop that the prices probably didn't really reflect much of a discount when it came to that little dip down to 900 per thousand. However, up at 1,300 per thousand, when you have mills starting to cut back on production or these announcements of cutting back on production, I can't see where the speculation that's going on in the market would ease up. That would add more to the speculation. The idea that the inventory levels of homes is going to stay low, that's going to add more to the speculation of the market. The only thing I could see actually backing this up and like turning that idea that there's going to be a shortage into not a shortage. I don't want to necessarily say glut, because I just think with the amount of depletion in production that we probably won't experience that glut of lumber like I had anticipated coming. Simply because it's just not happening, right? The mills are shutting down more production, not ramping it up. The ones down in the southern part of the United States have not, beefed up their production yet. So as of like the short term, like over the next 6 months, we are going to see some volatility. At some point, the price will drop. But when you have this kind of occurrence taking place, I don't know what's going to happen with the lumber. Like, I would love to tell you guys that it's going to drop down to, the 500-600 per thousand. I feel that it will at some point, but I really honestly think that's probably going to come from a downturn in the market, like recession or some major lifting of interest rates, putting a downward pressure on housing. If you get downward pressure on housing, that's going to make the builders less eager to try and build homes, considering that by the time they build it, the house would sell for less than what they had originally anticipated. That kind of situation will definitely, keep the inventory levels down if there is like a recession that kicks in and starts causing something like that to happen. But honestly, with the amount of low inventory, like the amount of houses for sale, it's going to take something significant to really, and in my opinion, it's going to take something significant to really turn the market down enough that we would see something like that happen, like where we see the builders start to get frustrated with trying to, complete these homes and get them out to market. Right now, prices of homes are up, inventory's down. This is a good place for builders to be, right? To be able to build a home and sell it for, at least what you were anticipating, if not more. All right, I'm going to leave a link down in the description for you guys. I'm going to go home and get something to eat. Uneducated Economist, you guys let me know.